We can. Okay, welcome everyone. It's a pleasure we have today Mr. Nur Al Alam to talk to us. Nur Al Alam is the president of the Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi Society, Asia Pacific. He is an engineer by profession. He completed his engineering in computing at the University of Engineering and Technology in Bangladesh. He also completed a graduate diploma in Arabic language at the University of Melbourne. Currently, he's the resident of Melbourne, and where he works as a senior program manager at the Telstra Corporation. Telstra is the largest telecommunication company in Australia. He is a Sufi practitioner since 2000, and he has been studying Ibn Arabi's books since 2005. He's very actively involved in the programs and administrations of various branches of the Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi Society, both Asia Pacific, the Arabic-speaking society, and the Bangladesh Ibn Arabi group as well. Now, tonight, or today, or this afternoon, or this morning, depending on where you are, the presentation by Nur will be on the Barzakh, the 5 presences and Islamic cosmology in the context of Ibn Arabi. Sounds very exciting to me. During this presentation, Nur will explore Ibn Arabi's al-Risala al-Barzakhiyya with regard to the 5 presences and pre-modern Islamic cosmology and architecture. So Nur, it will be lovely to start hearing your voice.
Thank you. Many thanks, Frank, for this introduction. Of course, it's a ego pumping. So as a result, I have to say astaghfirullah rabbi min kulli dhanbi wa atubu ilayh la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim kullu izzatu lillahi wa rasulihi. So okay, assalamu alaikum. So bismillahir rahmanir rahim. In Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhal insan, innaka kadihun, ila rabbika kadhan famulakihi. O human being, thou art toiling towards thy Lord, painfully toiling, but thou shalt meet Allah. So with that note, I'll start my presentation. I'll share my screen, and then I'll start going to the subject. The ayat, the verse I shared, it has some connection to this topic. Topic is about insan doing the journey. The Ibn Arabi wrote a Risala. It's called Risalatul Anwar. You know, I told in the past, because he wrote so many letters for us 800 years ago. They were sitting in the museum, but most of these letters came to us. So this Risala is for the people who are seeking God. Is saying that journey to the Lord of power, we are arrival in his presence, and then we will have return through him, from him to his creation without separation. So Allah created our ruh in front of him. We arrived first, our ruh, and then of course we came through so many planes, and we are on our journey, basically. So it's a journey to the Lord of power, journey to our Creator. So I compiled my presentation with this outline. As you see, I have almost 29 slides. I will be spending maybe 1 or 2 minutes on each of the slide. First, I will discuss about preliminary understanding, what is Barzakh and intermediate world. And then I'll talk about 7 realms, in our journey from him, to him, in him, through him. And that is that Risalatul Anwar, where the seven realm is mentioned. And then I will discuss 5 divine presences, Hadratul Ilahiyya al-Khamsa, briefly. And then I will talk about a slide on letter Nun briefly, how it relates to Barzakh. And then a cosmology, hierarchical planes. So that's where I will discuss the book written by Shamir Akash, which you may have heard. He gave a presentation in Monash lecture. And then Barzakh is Israfil's horn, trumpet-shaped universe, how that relates to us and this discussion. Then this Risala Barzakhiya, which I translated, and I learned quite a few new things in there. And of course, main thing what actually I wanted to share my discovery in the learning is how human being, our jasad, our body is related to these 3 planes. And then of course, one of the plane is ʿAlam al-Khayal, this world of imagination. And then how Ibn Arabi says that if we are aware, we can visit that Barzakh, which he calls his first earth, and that is his called Ardun Hakikiyun. So preliminary ideas, the one I wanted to mention is basically how our current conditioning, our social conditioning, deprived us from seeing this Barzakh, which even 50 years ago, when I was growing up in my village, which is not far from town, maybe only say 6 kilometers from the CBD of Bangladesh, second largest city, Chittagong. People around me in the village, they used to talk about this unseen world. And many of the people who I used to pray in the mosque, they used to talk about seeing people with white dress, seeing people in mosque, seeing people in graveyard, seeing people. These are people which are actually roaming around in the other world. But to these people, they saw them. And of course, main reason is our mind is conditioned in the modern day that we do not believe this anymore. As a result, it disappeared from our sight. So we do not see Allah's hand in everything the way they saw in my mind, because in Quran it says biyadihil khair, biyadihil mulk, biyadihil malakut. Everything is in Allah's hand. We are in Allah's hand, but our belief system or our understanding is completely different. And this is what I want to mention. Ibn Arabi is mentioning huwa al-muhitu bi-ghaibi kulli shahidin al-mustawla ala batini kulli zahirin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses the entire visible world in a hidden way. He holds sway over everything with a world of command. So that world of command encompasses us. And that is the Barzakh. Everything in the world of seeing has a root in the world of unseen. كل شيء في عالم منظور له جذور في العالم المستور. And this is what our science, modern science, separated these 2 worlds, and they do not see the connection. And as a result, our mind is conditioned to ignore it, because we go to that world every night, but we do not remember what we see in that world, because we actually detached our mind. So that will be my focus. And here is talk about Barzakh in this ayah. He says that some people, when they die, they say that, hey, yeah, I came too early. Can you send me back? And they will be told, no, by no means. It's but a word, he says. And then he said, before them is a partition, Barzakh. until the day they are raised up. So when people go back, and if they want to come back, angel tell them there is a partition between you and that world, so you can't go back. And same way, we are here, we can't go back as we wish until we are allowed to go in. So that is the thing. And here in this ayat also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, it is He who has let free the two seas of flowing water, one palpable and sweet, the other salt and bitter. Yet has He made a barrier between them, a partition that forbidden to be passed. So there are quite a lot of other similar understanding. And this is the verse which mostly Ibn Arabi focused and mentioned, and in Barzakh and in this Sufi path of knowledge, William Shittick mentioned from Futuhat, and he explained this verse quite in detail. And this is what Ibn Arabi's interpretation is, that Marad al-Bahrain yaltaqiyan, two seas, they meet each other. Bainahuma barzakhun la yabghiyan, and they have a barzakh, they cannot cross each other. So this is the barrier. And what William Shittick says is that barzakh is something that stands between and separates two other things, yet combines the attributes of both. So that is our human body. In between we have two seas. One sea is visible, another sea is invisible. But the barrier which we have in between, it actually separates these two. This one, but we human has the access to both worlds, and that will be my continuation of the whole discussions. So here Ibn Arabi says in the chapter 63 of Futuhat, the definition of Barzakh. Know that the word Barzakh is an expression for what separates two things without ever becoming either of them, such as the line separating a shadow from the sunlight. As in his saying, may he be exalted, he has loosened and the two seas, they meet between them, a barzakh. They do not go beyond, meaning that neither of them becomes mixed with the other. And now I want to go back to this, realm, the one I originally quoted, that our birth, our ruh, was in first we arrived in presence of Allah, the day of Alastu. That is one of the realm. It says in this Risala, Risalatul Anwar, mountain. He called it mountain as a realm, mountain, homeland. So that was our home, Watan. So, and the realm of Alastu birabbikum. And then second home we had was mother's womb. That was our realm. And here there is a quotation from Ibn Arabi. Homes are the homeland we quit at birth. Ibn Arabi, and it is quoted. There is a novel written on Ibn Arabi, Small Death. There is a, I don't know whether you collected this book. It's a spiritual novel on the life of Ibn Arabi, written by a Saudi writer. His name is Hassan Alwan. So that book has been now translated into English, and the title is Ibn Arabi's Small Death. And there you can see this quotation because it is said in the Futuhat. So anyway, homes are the homeland we quit at birth. So we had multiple homeland because we first arrived in presence of Allah in that realm of Alastu, and then realm of Dunya we did come, but our landing was in the mother's womb, and then we came to out of the womb, realm of Dunya, which is the mountain Dunya, allazi nahanu al'an fiha. At the moment we are in it. And then the realm of Barzakh is the mountain al-Barzakh, Allazi nasiru ilayhi ba'd al-maut al-asghar wa akbar. He's saying that we can go to this Barzakh, we go there after our maut al-asghar. And of course, you may ask what is maut al-asghar and what is maut al-akbar. And you heard already Ibn Arabi's small death. In that novel, he's talking about um, small death is small death for love, the divine love. If you can have a small death for divine love, you can achieve that love. But here he's talking about Mautul Asgar, which help us to go to Barzakh. And I'll just say it in a minute what Mautul Asgar is. And the realm of resurrection on awakening earth. This is the one when we will be day of judgment. There will be an earth he's calling Mautan al-Hashr bi'ard Sahara. So it's awakening earth where we will be all coming out of grave, and then we will have a body of light and we'll move around and we will have a new configuration. That's what my Risala Barzakhiyya will talk about, and what will be our configuration. How, and in there Ibn Arabi details how we'll behave or how we'll roam around, how we'll look like. He gave us some kind of description. And the realm of heaven and hell is after this resurrection, we will have this realm. And then there's a beyond heaven and hell, which is the sand dune. So these are these 7 realms he mentioned in that Risala. And this Mautil Asgar is the one he's saying in Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahu yatawaffal anfus. Anfus. So yatawaffa means wafat. You know, our nafs dies twice. In this verse, Allah says, Hina mauteha wallati lam tamut fi manamiha fayumsiku allati qada alayha al-maut wa yursilu al-ukhra ila ajalim musamma inna fi dhalika la ayatin liqawmin yatafakkarun. And here he's saying that our nafs dies twice. Once when we sleep, another when we really die. So when we die, because every night it happens. This is what he's saying. Allah takes the souls at the time of their death, and those that do not die, he takes during their sleep. So our nafs goes back to Allah. So that is the small death. That is the Mautil Asgar. That's when Ibn Arabi is saying that we can access to Barzakh. We do access it. And that's what he's referring to in that realm he mentioned. And here in this verse, he said, Sanurihim ayatina fil afaq wa fi anfusihim hatta yatabayyana lahum annahu al-haq. So he shows signs. So you know, this one of the sign is the ayatin. Sleep is one of the sign. We didn't know that. But here saying that we show them our signs in horizon, afaq, and in their inner selves. So Allah shows us signs outside and inside. And so inside sign we will not be talking about today, but outside sign is what we will be talking. Of course, one of the sign is the sleep. Of course, when you go to sleep, we go to ʿAlam al-Khayal, and that's what we will be talking as well. And now I'll go back to my realm. This is the other Ibn Arabi's description of this Hadrat. Hadrat means presence. Hadrat al-Khamsa al-ilahiyya, the 5 presences. And first presence is Hadrat la ta'ayyun, ālam al-hahut. Here, unseen and hidden, absolutely unknowable, Gaib al-mutlaq, Zat pak Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is Gani an al-Alamin. He is Ganiyun. He is independent of all universe. And that's his first Hadrat. And that is La Ta'ayyun. So before our creation, He was there and he's still there. But he gave a tajalli, first Hadrat, second Hadrat, which is Hadrat started. Alam al-Lahut wa Jabarut, Ta'ayun al-Awwal. That's when he created the light of Muhammad. This is all according to Ibn Arabi. This particular details has been given in a Kernel of the Kernel book written by Ismail Haqi Bashavi based on Ibn Arabi teaching. So I am now quoting all these things from two books. One is the Kernel of the Kernel. Another is this book, Alone with Alone. Henry Curvan has quoted as well. And then, of course, there is two articles written by Shittik, and both articles sourced from Kunavi and Kaisari. And another book I'll be quoting is this book, which is basically Horizon of Being, the Metaphysics of Ibn al-Arabi, Muqaddama al-Kaisari. And it has this chapter where Kaisari wrote very detailed commentary on these five presence, chapter 5, universal worlds and the five divine presences. So I will be quoting some of those, their terminology, but I have compiled this summary mostly from Kernel of the Kernel. So Ta'ayun al-Awwal, which is the first Ta'ayun, individuation. Ta'ayun is individuation, because Allah infinite, but he created this is the gradually everything is manifestation from this world to this world, this world to this world, this world to this world, this world to this world. So basically is the nuzulat, is the transcendence. So this transcend from here to there to here to here. That's how this five presence happens. And a whole the universe is the al-haq, but various tajalli manifestation happen in these layers. So here Nur Muhammad, the light of Prophet Muhammad, is the first light he created. And that's what he even called, the same Nur Muhammad is called Kitabul Mubin, Imamul Mubin, various names. And that is called Barzakh al-Kabir. And that's is the Alam al-Mahiyya, the quiddity, Ayan al-Thabita, Aqal al-Awwal, Jawhar al-Awwal, that is the essence. And then Alam al-Arwah. That's where our first arrival, in the seven realm, Ibn Arabi said, our arrival in his presence, this is the presence we had in his presence. When all Arwah said, Alastu Berebikum, am I not your Lord? We said, Kalu Bala. We said, yes, you are our Lord. So that's the first tajalli. Second tajalli is the third hadrat, is the Alam al-Malakut, which is where Ta'ayyun al-Thani, Sidratul Muntaha is there, Alam al-Misal is there, Alam al-Khayal. This is what I will emphasize today. Our power of imagination. And there is the layers in the imagination. We go there. And Barzakh as-Sagir is this one. And this is where Arsh and Kursi and seven skies, this is spiritual skies we are talking about. And then fourth Hadrat is Alam al-Shuhud. And this is the one we are in now. Shuhud al-Mutlaq, Alam al-Nasud, moral world, Alam al-Khalq, universes, galaxies, Alam al-Animal, plants, minerals, Alam al-Mulk. This is the Mulk we are in, and this is the visible world. So as you see, this is another tajalli from this to this, and they are linked. And this is the one I quoted, that everything in the world of seen has a root in the world of unseen. So this two is interconnected. This two is interconnected. And then, of course, this is the one which is the expansion and possibility. This Insan Kamil unites all Hadrat. And I have a diagram on it. I'll share that one with you guys. Same way as the Ismi ʿAzam unites all divine names. Aqal al-Awwal, Lawh, Qalam, nafs kulli, everything is linked is to this. So nafs al kulli, you know, I said nafs, we have a nafs, universe has a nafs. So the universal nafs is called nafs al kulli. We have a ruh, and universe has a ruh. And that's ruh. Ruh al-ʿAzam is the universal ruh, but we have a ruh, which of course, when we sleep, ruh doesn't go back. In that ayah, yatawaffa an-nafs. It doesn't say a ruh. Nafs in the sleep goes back to God. Ruh stays here. You remember ruh and nafs, these two entity there, and those two entity will always remain. But it is the nafs, nafsu dhaikatul maut. It's nafs who tastes the death. So anyway, so I'll ask you to understand this. And these 7 states of being, first is the transcendental unity, al-ahadiyya, which is the la ta'ayyun, and then divine solitude, al-wahidiyya. This is the kathra. And then now wahdaniyya. Okay, divine solitude, and then divine uniqueness, and then world of spirits, alam arwah, alam al-misal, alam al-assam, and alam al-insan. And so these are the various realm, which is another version of that diagram. This is taken from this book, Cosmology and Architectural in Premodern Islam, and architectural reading of mystical ideas, author Shamir Akash, which is a Syrian. He lives in Adelaide, and you know he gave a presentation here in National Gallery, in Victorian Library, and also he gave 2 lectures, I think, in Monash University. So he quoted some of these things in some of his book when he released it 2 years ago, this book. So, and as you see here, manifestation, determination, and first is non-being. This is the, of course, Hahut. And then this is the divine business, where he was saying that this treasure, hidden treasure hadith. So that's when he decided that out of his love he want to create, and that's when immutable essences and slowly these external essences has been manifested. So pre-existence of being up to here, and then existence of becoming is here, and then Hahut, Lahut, Jabarut, Malakut, Nasut. So, you know, Ibn Arabi in his prayer book, he's saying, oh Allah, give us the governing power, which is the Lahutiyya. That one, the Lahutiyya, this Lahutiyya nature in us, give the governing power to that over Nasutiyya, which is human nature, so that we can subservient. That is where our ego is. Our ego self is part of Nasut, whereas our divine self is our the part of our Lahut. So nafs is the Arabic terminology for self. So self has 2 parts. One is a human self, another is divine self. Human self is called Nasut, and divine self is called Lahut. So and that has this jurisdiction over every presence, as I shared in my other diagram. So here, as you see, physical, natural, and then intermediary world. This is our point of discussions, Barzakh. And this is where I will explain how the cosmic reality fit in, how our cosmic divisibility, all this Hawkins and various people thinking and talking about all this nebula, all this dark matters and everything is all this area, all this area. And then Hadrat al-Khamsa ilahiyya, I'm just simplified diagram is higher world, lower world, and then intermediate world. And then human world has access to all of them. As you see, up to alam arwah. So we have access, awliya, who are human, saint, yogis, If they achieve the purity of their heart, through their heart, they can reach up to higher world. And they can go up to Sidratul Muntaha. And that's what we heard from various saints, various yogis, various awliya, what they saw there. So I'll briefly describe about some of those stories briefly. And then here, another diagram. This is Al-Farghani. He's an Iranian scholar. He was the student of Kaisari, and he mentioned here that entities, these ayan is sabita, before that, all entities manifest to God alone, manifest both to God and to others. God alone has another two entities, the complete negation of entities, Hahut, and then Lahut, negation from outward existence, but not from knowledge. So, and as you see here, that knowledge, divine knowledge, includes that Ayan Thabita. And here is the manifest both to God and to others, and it's the non-composite world of spirits and the composite. So we'll talk about this composite nature of human, and that is munsha, and that composition will change what we are here versus when we go to Alam al-Barzakh, and also Barzakh al-Sagir versus Barzakh al-Kabir. So, and world of image exemplars is the Alam al-Malakut. That's where Alam al-Methal is. And the gross world is this world, which is, of course, we already know we have this in our body, these 5 elements. Anyway, now we go back to Barzakh, and Ibn Arabi explained this word. He's saying the letter Nun, which there is a surah, I don't know whether you know, there is a surah called Nur Al Alam. The name of the surah is called Qalam. It starts with this letter, Nun. And Nun is the one which is the Qalam, and Qalam is the another name of the Prophet. So, and first intellect. So, and here is a poem Ibn Arabi wrote on this, because he has a Risala, separate Risala on this letter, 3 letter actually, Mim wa Nun. So there is a video link I have put in. This slide is prepared by Stephen Harnstein, and he gave a lecture on secret of geometry, and he talks about compass, and then the letter Nun. The compass is this dot where you put the non-writing. In a compass there's a 2 leg. One leg has a pencil, another leg is just a pointer, which puts at the center, and the other one, if you rotate, you can make the circle. So that is the dot is the compass where the center is, and that center exists in Barzakh. That is where Ruh is. Ruh is where, and there is a big description Ibn Arabi gave in his kitab Tadbiratul Ilahiyya. Here Ibn Arabi says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the from the surface of the circle, took this Ruh and put it at the center. So in the center is the Barzakh. And Ibn Arabi is saying the dot of the self nature of the Nun of existence in her unseen reality as an I. So this I is another slide I have, which of course Stephen Harnstein extracted this knowledge from Futuhat, and he translated it, beautiful translation. So this I, what it means, I can be I, real I, which you can see. Another meaning of Ain, it can be Ain. Ain means essence. So indicates the objects of her adoration. So Chukir Puttuli, the people of the eye. So Prophet says Qurratul Ain. When we love someone, we say that you are my Qurratul Ain, you are my eyeball, you are my pupil of my eye. So that is the object of adoration. and then her own being is from his generosity and his right hand. This is talking about this Nun. And then all the created beings of her higher side are from her generosity. So this generosity is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this poem talks about it. So observe with your own eye the manifest half of the reality of her being out of her generosity, guiding you to her non-manifest half. So as you see here, one part is non-manifest, another part is manifest. So being al-wujud, world as represented by letter Nun, and the world as perceived, inverted Nun. So this is how we perceive. So sensible half experientially being al-wujud, and then intelligible half experientially non-being al-ʿAzam. I'll come into this description because here in this universe is a transitory world. This world is Maya. This world is non-existent because my age is now 64. 64 years ago, there was no Nur Al Alam. 64 years ago, yeah, I didn't exist. But I will not live after 100 years or whatever years God kept for me. After that, what happened to this particular body, everything? What happened? So I was a transitory here in this world. I am a traveler here. That's what I first started with, that world, that ayat, the Ya ayyuhal insan innaka kadihun ila rabbika. You are toiling towards your God. The day I came, I am toiling to go back. So, and that's what the non-being is. And letter Nun here, Stephen Huntington showed that this is how Abjad letters are written in Arabic. Yeah. So an alif, it starts with alif, it ends with waw, and in the middle is the Nun. The position of Nun in the 26th letter is in the middle. That's one mystery of Nun. Another mystery of Nun is there is a abjad value. If you spell word Nun, Nun, Waw, Nun, and then if you want to pronounce Waw, Waw is Waw plus Alif plus Waw, Waw. So, but Nun, if you put them here, you see Nun, Wow, Nun is this way. Nun, Wow, Nun is this way. And then Nun, Wow, Nun is this way. Nun, this 9 magic letter box, this is a mystery of Nun. Another number is the number of value of these numbers in the abjad system. If you see here, the value is 616. And then if you go diagonally, 516 plus 5, and then 515, and then there are some value like this. So he's saying that the Nun is a mystery letter. That's one of the things he's saying. And another thing he's talking about, you know, that Ain he talk about, Ain can be essence, Ain can be entity, Ain can be I. And he's saying that this is the map of the universe. In the center, this is the dark matter there, and this is the I, and there is the Barzakh is built into it. And he's saying in the circle, Ibn Arabi, with his own handwriting, he wrote that in the center is the Huwa, who, and then he wrote Mumkin on the outside and Mahal on the outside. So Mahal is the impossible. The impossible is beyond the circumference. The real is at the center. So that's what Ibn Arabi wrote in his own writing. And this is that diagram. And he is explaining how that Nun is interconnected to the creation of the universe, connected to the ʿAlam, connected to the Prophet Muhammad on light. And here It's another dimension of I taken from that book Shamaraka. She's saying that there's a four dimension. First dimension is being of wujud. Second dimension is this Barzakh. Third dimension is this, of course, Adam being. And four is outside. So basically this transitory period. So he's saying that there is a triplicity and quadrature underlying the order of universal manifestation. How this side manifests here with a barzakh in the middle. And there is a terminology I learned from one of the friend or one of the Ustad Ali Hussein, where I go to for that reading sessions on Fusus. He is an Egyptian professor. He now migrated to Malaysia, and he used this word called tethering. I don't know whether we all use iPhone, and if you give a hotspot, another person who doesn't have the and your phone is connected to internet, and if you give a personal hotspot, another person can join your phone and go to internet, right? So that is called tethering. And Ibn Arabi used the word muratib, rabita. I forgot the terminology. He translated that word as a tethering. So this is what it is. There is a personal hotspot here, and through this personal hotspot, you can go to the internet here. Internet means the ʿAlam al-Ghaib. That's what I'll explain briefly. There is a slide I put in there. So anyway, the cosmology, this diagram again from Brother Shamir Akash's book. He's saying that the spheres within the spheres. This is the spiritual world. This is not the sun, the diagram we are familiar with, but this is the one, the reality, the earth, physical earth, and spiritual earth. So spiritual earth is at the center, and around it is water, around it is air, and there is a sphere of ether, a sphere of moon, a sphere of Mercury, a sphere of Venus, a sphere of sun, a sphere of Mars. All these spheres are all encompasses Earth. The way we understood is not the way spiritually. Physically, yeah, because we are inside the universe, that's how we see. Because Ibn Arabi is saying you are inside your mother's womb. When you are inside your mother's womb, you can see only your mother's womb diaphragm, nothing else. If you had the eye to see, same, we are inside the whole universe. As a result, our understanding, we think that, of course, Earth is moving its orbit, and then from the sun distance we have calculated that way. That is the Galilean or Copernicus diagram, which we understand physically, but spiritually, Earth is the center of the whole universe. That's how Ibn Arabi and even yogis, if you search a concentric circle, this one, in the Wikipedia, I will find some very beautiful diagram from Vedant and the the Indian civilization and some of their understanding, as opposed to Greek, the one we understand. So here, this is the dark matters, this dark line, and that part is the world of similitude, ʿAlam al-Misal, and that's where the divine throne is. You see there, the sphere of Arsh and the sphere of Kursi, pedestal, is there. And here, Ibn Arabi said in the Mi'raj, that's where our prophet, Ibn Arabi himself, gone there. And he wrote his book on his Mi'raj. And that book is chapter 167 of Futuhat. translated by Stephen Hardstein as Alchemy of Happiness. So, and I just took this diagram to explain how this sphere within this sphere looks like. And here there's a hadith mentioned by, of course, this is the hadith. In that hadith, hadith is Abu Dhar Ghafari. He mentioned it, and Ibn al-Hajar, Ibn Hajar al-Sakalani mentioned it. And he said the world of seven skies and our universe is such a minuscule in comparison to the footstool of Allah that it is alike a thrown up ring into a large desert. And his throne arsh in comparison to footstool kursi is like the greatness of the desert in comparison to the thrown up ring. Ka halkatin mulkatin fi ardin ardin falat. So that is the hadith. And then this is the diagram, which is a complex diagram. I actually drawn it based on Futuhat chapter 63. We studied together as a part of my understanding, which I shared with that group at that time. So it's basically seeing the universe in two eye. Two eye, you see the creation. One eye is the eye of sensation, the eye which we have, and the eye of the heart, which is the inner eye. So, and this is what I will discuss more. Here, there is a verse in the Quran, the eye of sensation, how it works. It says, Quran says, La tudrakuhu al-absar wa huwa yudraku al-absar. The looks do not reach him, but it is he who reaches the looks. So when I look at an object, actually I thought I am projecting my eye on it. That is not the case. It says the looks do not reach him, because when you look at the object, the light on the object goes through your eye, and in your brain, it actually compares the object first time I scanned when I was born. You know, when baby is born, for almost 30 or 40 days, their eye do not see. It just keeps scanning. It doesn't register anything. Even if you wave your eye, the baby doesn't recognize. But slowly, it keeps scanning. So that's what, whatever object at that time our memory kept, light falls into it, then we recognize. So that is the world of seeing through the sensation. And how we will see through the eye of the heart, I will explain briefly, because those are on its own another physics. But here I am trying to cover two parts. One is, as you see here, Hadrat al-Khamsa al-ilahiyya, which is it's another format. I am showing two ocean, as you see, colored ocean and a black and white ocean. Colored ocean is the visible world, and the black and white is the invisible world. And there is a barzakh in between. And this is where two sea, one ocean and the another ocean meets. And one is the ʿAlam al-Khalq, which is the world of creation. And then the ʿAlam al-Dunya, ʿAlam al-Manzur is the visible worlds. And this side is the world of command, world of dominion, hidden worlds. And as you see here, ʿAlam al-Amr, ʿAlam al-Malakut, ʿAlam al-Mastur. And this side is the tasbih, similarities. What is arwah, emanation, āzam, insan. These are the terminology, various Sufi terminology, spiritual plane, astral plane. Astral plane, you know, we have an astral body, and then the physical body. So two body we have. And these are the terminology you explain. And on this side is the Dhat, which is unmanifested, ahadiyat, plane of eternal consciousness, wahdat, plane of consciousness, and then wahdaniyat, which is the plane of abstract ideas. So, and this is what we go to Alam al-Misal over there. Of course, here we have every object, which is nothing but his manifestation, because his name manifests through everything. So here he's saying that know that Barzakh is an expression for what separates the two things without ever becoming one of them. That is the chapter 63 I briefly mentioned in the beginning. Everything in the world of seen has a root in the world of unseen, the Ghazali, and the perpetual recurring creation from instance to instance, theophany, tajalli, inner taste, dauk, and that's what this wheel is. It's called wheel of creation. This wheel move between day and night, move between uh, the seen and the unseen world, and move between our life cycle. Birth happens, death happens. So this is the wheel of creation. That's what I'm calling it, wheel of creation. So every day, 24 hours, there is a Ibn Arabi has another Risala, kitab called Kitab Shan. It has he maintained how sun, moon, and all these 7 planets interconnected, how they are related to our body, how are related to our mood, our body heat, body wet. So many description is there. He mentions it. So, and then he's saying every human being in the Barzakh is a hostage to that they have acquired. This is the Quran Sharif ayat. So every human being in the Barzakh is a hostage to what they have acquired. And because what we are doing now, we are simultaneously creating our bridge in the other world. That is the reason. If I am doing helping people, karma, that karma is reflected in there. If I give a bit of drink to the thirsty cat, who is a wild cat or wild dog, no, I mean, if you give them your water bottle and give him water, that's when you are creating a positive thing, material thing in the other world. So our karma in this world is linked to that world. They say that whatever karma you do here, it reflects over there. And you are creating the bridge between your journey in that world. So, and that's what this Quranic verse says. Every human being in the Barzakh is hostage what they have acquired. And Ibn Arabi has written a big chapter on it. And in this AIG, an illustrated guide, which Eric Winkle put together, there you can see bridge of life. He symbolically mentioned and he quoted from Futuhat there. And of course, fifth Hadrat, the first Hadrat is Alam al-Ghaib, al-Mutlaq, which we discussed. Second Hadrat is Ta'ayyun as-Sani, Ruhaniya, world of determination or individuation. Hadrat Alam al-Ruhiyya. And then he's talking about Ta'ayyun and Nafsiyya. Third Hadrat, the world of individuations, Hadrat al-Thalis, Alam Ta'ayyunatul Nafsiyya, and then fourth Hadrat, which is Alam al-Misal, which is the Hadrat al-Rabi', which is the Alam al-Misal, world of idea images, typically forms, individuations, figure. So all these things we see in this subtle matter in our dream. And that is the real world where we can see various things about our nafs. We can see our nafs in various forms, and God gives messages to us. I'll briefly mention on it. So here, another hierarchy, the transcendence heaven from Lahut, and then Jabarut, and then to Malakut, and to Alam al-Misal, and then Nasut. So in Barzakh is in between world of intellect and body, between world of Kashf and Shuhud, between arc of ascent and arc of descent. So, and this is where arc of ascent and descent has been mentioned. As you see here, this I have taken from Hazrat Inayat Khan book. In that book, he is saying that ahadiyya, consciousness, wahadiyya, he put sound as wahadaniya, wahadat, and the light as the wahadaniya, and then arwah as the spirit, and āzam, astral body. So this is the descent happening, and this is the ascent happening. So in the night, our soul rise up. In the morning, it descends back to the body. So we have a journey from insan to their zat, and then in the morning when our soul come back, and then this is the two arc from Nasut to Hahut, and Lahut to Nasut. That's what he's saying here. The Nasut is the material plane, and Malakut is the mental plane. Jabarut is the astral plane. Lahut is the spiritual plane. Hahut is the plane of consciousness. And so that's what is constantly happening within the 24 hours. And that's what I mentioned here, my source and how these two ocean is connected, and creator, creature, the Khalq, and the Khalq is the creation, and Haq is the that world. Haq, Khalq, Amr, Khalq. That is the two different relationship. Haq, Khalq relationship, Amr, command, world of command, and world of action, world of world of dunya. Khalq, Ilmul Khalq, Alamul Amr, Alamul Khalq, world of command, world of creation. So this is the brief summary. And then, Trumphet. So looks like I am quite behind. What do you think? Do I continue, or I stop here?
If you want to continue, how long do you think you need to do it properly? I was just thinking whether you prefer to do the other half next time or not.
Maybe that's how you want to do it, because
No,
looks
I'm
like
just wondering what does everyone else feel they want to they can stay and they like to stay, or others prefer that we have a question and answer session now and do the other half part 2 next time. Because I see you're on slide 17, and I think you have another half to go.
I just reached halfway.
Because if we spent an hour and a bit, you may need another hour. That might be too long. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So maybe we can stop here. I know didn't go into conclusion, but it can continue if you, do you have someone already scheduled next month?
Now we can give that to you.
Okay, if that's what it is, then we can do it and continue it. Because I underestimated my number of slide versus the total amount. But of course, I mainly covered Barzakh part. But in terms of cosmology, I said a spherical shape, right? Now, second idea, which is again based on Quran and Ibn Arabi, saying that it's not spherical, it's conical. And that conical shape is the horn. You can see the horn on the beasts and the animal's head. And then on the day of resurrection, Israfil will blow into the horn or the trumpet. So whole world is in that form. And that's what I just briefly just take you there. And that's where I was about to show you. So yeah, my main thing was, if you look at, yeah, that is how the worlds of Barzakh look like, the whole universe, cosmology. And then I have a comparison with Jungian philosophy, how Jungian use this terminology. Jungian has this terminology of consciousness, ego, how ego ascent, descent happen in compared to our soul versus soul ascent and soul descent happen. And that's it. I was going to cover these things, and then of course Risala, Barzakhiya, and how our mind work. I briefly wanted to explain ʿAlam al-Khayal, and then how this tethering happens, and ontology to explain how imagination works, and then how various time in Quran people explain Barzakh, how Miraj is part of Barzakh, how Jibril's arrival to Hazrat Maryam is everything related to Barzakh. So I was just about to go into, and that was my plan to. But of course, I showed you briefly what I wanted to cover, so that you know it, and next time what to expect. Yeah.
That's fantastic. There's a lot of detail there, Nur.
Yeah, I know. It is a
You
very
have been
fascinating to
studying
me.
it for a while. Our brain is not capable of concentrating too long. I think we get more out of it if we have a break
Break is better. Yes, I
and
agree.
have
I
an
agree.
opportunity to discuss it a little bit now.
Yeah, I
Discuss
think that will be
the
better.
half,
Yes. Yeah.
and I would love to come back and do the other half later
Yeah.
on.
Yes.
Then we can
Yes.
get more out of it, I think. Does everyone else feel that makes sense? Lovely. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Nur. So now I'd like to open the floor for anyone who likes to ask questions or make comment or allow discussions to happen. Please go ahead, everyone. Either you just start talking or put your physical hand up or click on the hands as you wish. Yes, please go ahead. Sorry, I forgot your name with Hakika.
Hakika and Hussein.
Yeah, hello, Hussein.
Yeah, Nur, there was a slide that you had that had a circle, the top, the Barzakh, and then a semicircle at the bottom with ʿAzam, or A''DAM. What does that refer to?
We can't hear you, Nur. You're on mute.
Okay. Yeah. Let me share it back. In that way, you can see what I am talking about. You are talking about this diagram, the ʿAzam, which is non-being versus being, right?
Yeah.
So this ʿAzam is the non-existence, this Ain, not Alif. This ʿAzam is Ain, Dal, and then Mim. So this ʿAzam is non-existence, non-being. As I mentioned with my own example, say before 64 years, there was no Nur Al Alam. And after 100 years, if I live 100 years and there is no Nur Al Alam. So I am a non-existent being at the moment, living in this world with a borrowed existence. And that existence is based on my ruh, which is tethered through the Barzakh. You got my point? Just like if you stand in the sunlight, you see a shadow. If you are not there, shadow couldn't exist. So I am a shadow of my real self, which is in the ʿAlam al-Ghaib, which is in Barzakh, where my center is.
So when you pass from this earth plane to the afterlife, where does your ruh reside then? Is it still in the Barzakh?
Yes, my ruh is part of the Barzakh. I am already here. That's what my next few slides will say, that I am living 3 plane parallel universe simultaneously.
Okay.
I am in, my ruh is in Barzakh. That's what my mind diagram means. My ruh, though my ruh is at the moment with the covering of my body. My body means my cloth.
Yeah.
My cloth. So my ruh is covered with it. So that configuration will reverse when I go to there in the Barzakh al-Kabir. My munsha'at, my composition will change. That's what I'll explain later. Yeah. Okay. That is the Risala. Barzakhiyya gave a very details about it. And of course, he has other interconnected Risala, which main this Sufi path of knowledge covered most of it.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other question?
Yeah, I just want to comment on what you were just saying. ʿAzam or non-being. I don't know whether non-being or non-existence maybe is a different translation one can say, because being is all there is. There's no non-being, as it were. There's the unmanifest and the manifest. So when things manifest, we say they came into existence because now we can see them as human beings in the physical world. But when it's not existent and it's unmanifest, then we can't see it. But it doesn't mean it's not there. It's in the unmanifest. It hasn't manifested yet. So, but it is still being. Being is the essence, if you like, or al-haq. There's never a time where al-haq is not there. It's like saying God is dead. So everything else, if you like, comes and goes and dies and gets birthed. But God is the only one that doesn't come and go. He's forever present. So I think, I think the word non-existent implies that we don't see it, or we see it and we don't see it, whereas being gives the impression as if God is dead, So I'm just wondering so about what is maybe a different translation that may be more accurate or not.
Yeah, this is of course the translation of Shittik and others. And main thing is what we see is Maya in the real sense. You can see me, but my me is borrowed me. My body is part of the universe. When my soul, my ruh was, came into the zygote in my mother's womb, at that point, it was part of her body. And that way, if you go back just to Adam, where, God shaped it and put his spirit, that is this copy of this spirit, which is me or you, that copy of that spirit. But where that spirit come from? It's just another lamp. It's a projected tajalli. So in true sense, this is not the real. The real is which has, tajalli, which is manifestation of his own self. You got my point? There is a layered transcendence presence. So I have two parts. One is hidden, one is manifest. So Zahir and Batin. So Zahir, at the moment you can see me because my Zuhur, my Mazhar or Majla, Tajalli, Majla, Lokai, through which my soul is manifesting. My soul is talking through this organ and body. This is the Majla of my soul, right? This is the Lokai, where the manifestation happening, right? But this is in the time space. If you have a video of me, when you're playing the video, it captured my time, that moment I'm talking there. So that little moment is what you are watching in the television when you watch this video. Same is my whole life in the physical. If you want, there is a article in the Ibn Arabi website that talk more detail about this imagination al-Khayal in terms of this tape I just mentioned. In our 29-page study with the Bishara, yeah, we discussed those sort of articles. If you want, I can share that article with you. It explains how time is one of the accidents. You know, there is a 9 philosophical terminology to explain accident versus Jauhar versus Ard, accident versus substance. So my ruh is the substance, but my body and everything is accidents. This is the philosophical terminology I'm talking about. So it's a time-bound object. This is a borrowed 5-element Rakta Mangsha blood and you know, flesh and blood, but it came from the earth. It go back to earth. Taratan ukhra, will in Quran there is a verse, from earth we came out, we go back to earth, and then we will be again risen from the earth. There's a Quranic verse about it.
Yeah, I think, Nur, you're using the word I to describe two things. One is my ruh, or my soul, and one is my body. So I think my body is what we identify with and say that's who I am, but that's actually my body, not who I am. Whereas a ruh is who I am. So the body comes and goes, but I don't know whether we can say the ruh also comes and goes and disappears or not. So
ruh is eternal, yes.
Yes, if the ruh is eternal, then when we say I and we refer to the ruh, then I am eternal, and it's the body that comes and goes. So when we talk about the body, we should not use the word I come and go, because it gives the impression as if I also come and go, but that's the ruh. So it's important to distinguish, because this is one of the meaning of spiritual awakening. One becomes aware that one is not merely the body. The body is just a part of me that comes and goes, but the I am, the real source, is part of the being. This is what I was saying, being and non-being, or you know, I don't mind the translation, call it non-being, but it's just because the word being, it usually refers to Allah, or the non-changing. That's why it says being. It's actually almost not a verb, you know, it's a noun. Whereas the existence, something exists, it's referred to something that we can start to seeing it. It comes and goes. So existence, there would be non-existent. If there is non-existence, then it means existence is also temporary. It's not just your and my existence, but the whole universe could also be temporary as well. Maybe we'll have the whole thing will stop and start all over again after billions of years, or whatever that is. So it's important for us as humans to realize, because you know, you were talking about the Barzakh before, and you were implying that we have access to it, and if we have access to it, then we are living in that Barzakh now, but we're not aware of it. So if that is the case, then awareness is required that we can see. Otherwise, the Barzakh is not available to us until we die. And I don't know if that's how it is or not. Or is the Barzakh available to us now? As human beings, we have access to it now. And don't worry, we don't have to answer.
No, yes, you're right. So anyway, I associate to nafs, because nafs is what give the sense of I.
Yeah, it's a sense, exactly. A sense of I, it's not the real. Yeah.
Anyway, Rad has a question.
Rad, yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
Thank you so much, Brother Nur. But you know, not many people, I'm being egotistic right now, but not many people know how to make me feel dumb, and I felt very dumb today, to be honest with you. A lot of things, like I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe there's something wrong with me today. I didn't have my dinner yesterday. I'm not clued in. That diagram, subhanallah, you know, the one which was like mind-blowing one, which was like a very overwhelming one. I was just trying to I wanted to separate it, but then even if you separate it, it's not going to be it needs to be joined, but it needs to be more layman in a way. But like I'm not seriously, I'm not criticizing or I love the whole thing, but I'm just trying to say that I haven't felt in a very long time this dumb, to be honest with you. And only you can do this to me, brother Noor, because انت في عالم تاني. Your name is عالم, صح? You're in another world, and and I always say he's my mentor, and I always want to stick with people who are really good because I want them to rub on off on me, you know. I want some of that magic. So, alhamdulillah, my question better is a very simple one, and I think you're gonna think I'm even more dumb. I am a donkey anyway. I'm a mule of Allah, alhamdulillah. The word wujud you talked about, I wanted to know what that meant and how that relates, if it relates to the Enneagram class we're doing with wajh. Is it related to wajh Allah, like the sign of presence of God? That's one question. The other, I wanted to just to like supplement something about the noon because I love noon. Like I don't. I think we talked about it that I was going into a psychotic, not psychotic phase, but I was going into a very illusionary phase where um, I was doing a class with Dr. Ali, as you remember, with Ibn Arabi's etymology, and even when he mentioned the word noon, my computer would mute out the word noon, and I felt like the jinn were trying to not make me hear noon. And then when I used to go out for my hikes, everywhere on the grass, I find noon written. I look at the clouds, noon is written, and I was telling my sister, she's like, it's just your imagination, it's your projection, you want to see the noon or whatever. But then I started taking pictures. It's on the tree bark, it's on the grass, and then she started believing me with evidence, asaf, unfortunately. So Noon, I remember Dr. Ali saying was that Ibn Arabi was saying that when someone looks at the eyebrows of the Rasul, it's Noon, and Noon means that you are because Ibn Arabi relates everything, the mouth, the nose, everything in relation to an artist because we're all artists, we're born artists, we just need to find our craft. And he said that the noon for the eyebrows means you're a painter or whatever that is. Anyway, so my question is the wujud and if it's related to wajh Allah. بس شكرا أستاذي.
Yeah, thank you. Of course, we are all donkey because through us, he is manifesting. We are just an instrument to manifest his glory. And as I said, when you say someone, he is one, it appears that way that I am talking. But through me, he is manifesting because I couldn't talk anything unless I had this borrowed existence, which I have been given for the time being in this plane. So as a result, donkey's job is to carry it and from one point to the another, as his master says, right? So I am just carrying it. I am a conduit. So in that way, that's if I can be true servant, which Ibn Arabi says, Abdun Mahdun. If I could be a pure servant, that's what then God calls Ya Ayyuhal Ibadi, Ya Ibadi. So my servant. He claimed the servant who is fully, surrendered. So that is the stage we are trying to go and reach and practicing this Enneagram course we are doing to understand how to work on our self so that the self is fully aligned with the Wajhullah. Wajhullah is basically, that word is coming from Kullu man alayha fan wa yabqa وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. That is the verse which says everything will pass away except his face. So his face is his existence. His face will continue to, because at the moment, as I said, this substance and accidents, and this accident is the one, substance is 5: matter, form, body, soul, intellect. And accidents are 9: quantity, quality, place, time, position, possession, relation, action, and affection. So those 9. This is philosophical terminology to explain accidents and substance. Jauhar versus Arad. So yes, face is the essence. So that is what God says, I made with 2 hands. So, and that is my substance, which is my nafs until I am here. There's a question.
Sorry, what's wujud? Wujud then?
Wujud is the, of course, wajada. Wujud is the being. Wujud can be existence. Mawjud is where the location of the wujud is. So wujud is, wahdatul wujud. We explain with these 5 planes of existence how the tajalli happens, right? So the wujud, whatever we have here, that wujud is la mawjuda illallah. The wujud of Allah, to feel it, the oneness of Allah is the wujud.
Nur,
yeah.
Doesn't wajada also have the sense and meaning of to find?
Find, yes. Another one is, so there is a verse in Quran says that the people who think, there is a 2 kind of mind in amongst the people. Some people doing all the bad deeds, but they think they are doing good. So for example, they are killing people. They think they are doing something good because the people they are killing, they are, according to their understanding, not good people. They're killing enemies of God, for example. So if he thinks that I am killing him, killing is bad, right? But he also knows that it is bad. But why he's doing it? He's saying that I'm doing it because he's the enemy of God. So those people are called misguided or misinterpreted doers. And in Quran, it says that those doers see their good deeds as a mirage. Mirage means, something like water, but in the desert. But when you go there, water is not there. It's just a vapor. Appears to be like a water there. So in Quran, it says that when these people go and chase the water and they go there, what they do is they find God there. Wajada. That is where, so where nothing is there, God is there. So that is the wajada root word. So wujud can be finding, wujud can be existence, wujud can be generosity as well. Yeah, there are the questions.
Yeah, I'm just going to read the question from the chat for you, Nur.
Go ahead, please.
Can I just, before we do that, just comment on, because we're talking about wujud and wajada. My understanding with Ibn Arabi's meaning of wahdat al-wujud, an implication of that is that everything is one, including everything, literally everything. There's nothing anywhere, inner, outer, zahir, batin, universe, whatever. It's all one, and then nothing exists except for the one. So everything that we say exists is not different from the one and only one. So wahdat al-wujud means everything is that. So including the good, the bad, there's no God on one side and the devil on the other side. Even the devil is a creation or manifestation of God's power. Nothing is outside of that one. I sometimes use the word wholeness to imply there's nothing outside wholeness. It's the whole, that there's nothing is outside of it. So this is very challenging, and that's relating to the question in the chat, I think, that even the good and the bad are part of the one. And we think, we take sides with the good and we go against the bad, without realizing that the bad is not different from the same being. That's all there is. Just wondered this, whether that's that's really Ibn Arabi's meaning of wujud, or am I having my own imagination here and I'm deluded?
Okay, that question.
Yeah, I'll read the question. Okay. As Aylon he's told us at the end, I am Shabir Ahmad from Kashmir. Welcome, Shabir. Assalamu alaikum to all. Grateful, dear Nur Al Alam, for being so enlightening. Question: do we have parallels in other mystic traditions like Christian, Kabbalistic, Buddhist, Neoplatonic traditions that resonate with Ibn Arabi's 5 presences, Barzakh, cosmology, to make it more universal? And how does the 5 presences can address modern day dualities like profane and sacred, secular, sacred, mundane, divine?
Yes, that's a good question. If you actually search to collect that diagram, I said concentric spheres. I actually did a search on the internet, and I found there was a Wikipedia where they're showing concentric spheres. So that is not new. That is Aristotelian. The diagram Ibn Arabi's time he draw. That is still that understanding. The spiritual understanding is that the concentric sphere is the spiritual dimension of existence. So in that way, I see parallels, yes. And in terms of Barzakh versus 5 presences, they may have a different terminology. So, for example, even Freud and Carl Jung, they have a different terminology. Actually, in my next lecture, I might cover that. And in this lecture, I didn't include it. It is actually, there is a book written by Laleh Bakhtiar. It's called Quranic Psychology. Because she was a psychologist, a clinical psychologist. So she used Jungian terminology to map with Quranic terminology. So just like in my diagram, I have shown using, there is a Pakistani professor who gave a presentation in the Ibn Arabi Society. There he actually explained the this particular mapping with the, his name is, what's his name? Sohel or something. I need to find out. Anyway, he actually gave, and now, sorry, his name is Mansur Abidi. Mansur Abidi. He gave a presentation and with the comparison of Ibn Arabi and Jungian philosophy. And there he mapped these 5 presents with Jungian terminology. So next lecture, I will cover that. So there is a lot of correspondence parallel, the one you mentioned. In terms of how does 5 presents can address modern day dualities like profane, sacred, secular, mundane, divine. Yeah, of course, mundane means of what is, has, you can say, mundane or profane. It depends on how you see it. What is mundane to you may be important to somebody, or what profane to you may be important to somebody. But of course, it depends on the maturity of your heart. If your heart is purified, you can immediately block it because it's a dirt you don't want your drink to be mixed up with. The drink you want is a pure drink. As a result, you protect your drink so that it doesn't get polluted with the, which is profane stuff. So that's why, because profane stuff create, if you have a clear mirror where you can have a reflection, you do not want your clear mirror to be covered with the dirt so that its reflective power disappears. So as a result, you will immediately recognize what is profane, which is a kind of black spot, which is a kind of dirty stuff that may pollute your clear screen. But of course, if your mind is strong, I know Hazrat Inayat Khan, when he went to our part of the world, and at one stage he mentioned, and at one point he had to go to a place where there are a lot of profane things happening. And there was also in Abdul Hakim Murad's lecture, there was a Sufi sheikh or a Sufi awliya. In his lifetime, he wanted to hide himself. He's a Malamiya. He's a Serbian Sufi. And to confuse some of the people, he went into a nightclub where all these naked things happening. So he was sit there, but he was doing there all zikr. Whereas other people thought, hey, this guy has a bad taste, right? Actually, he's covering himself. So those sort of things can be also deliberate. Even in Rumi's time, I don't know whether you have read this 40 Rules of Love. In this, that Alif Safak, she wrote a novel on the life story of Shams Tabrizi, the 40 Rules of Love, and is basically based on some of the biographical information on Shams Tabrizi. So there she had this story about some prostitute. This guy who is a sheikh, he just paid her for 3 nights, and because on those 3 nights she will be taken by some bad people who will do harm to her. So as a result, to give her protection, he paid this girl, say, hey, come and live in my house for 3 nights, next 3 nights. So you never know. But other people think, hey, this guy is hired this prostitute for 3 nights. Maybe who knows what he's doing. You got my point? So those sort of things. you may get confused. So anyway, but pure heart versus profane heart, yes. Profane heart is a dark heart which is not seeing the glory, but he's seeing, as you know, in Quranic psychology mapping, I'll show you how this two-part, we have this devil within. There is a book recently published by Dunya Rasik. It's called Bedeviled. So it's based on Ibn Arabi philosophy, and she explains there the devil within and what devil within is, and which is how Quran has reference to about it. And this is jinn. Jinn is part of us. There is a jinn, and just like angels part of us, jinn is part of us as well. But if you are doing all the positive things, jinn cannot interfere you, but he can whisper you. He can only whisper to your sadr, not your qalb. Qalb is the one which is 2 degrees higher. Sadr, and then they say fuad, qalb, fuad, lab. There is a 4 layer of your inner dimension, inner self, according to Hakim Tirmizi. So sadr, it can whisper, which is outside qalb. And then of course, yeah, those are various kind of description. Yes. Any question? Anything else?
And it's like we have to look at everyone, like everyone we meet is a wali. That's because my biggest problem in my whole life when I was young, I used to judge everyone, and it was just a form of shirk. It was a hidden shirk that I'm putting my ego on par with God. And now, alhamdulillah, I'm not there yet, but I'm trying to get there. It's like I meet everyone, they're my guide, they're my spiritual guide. And I think that's what you were basically saying. And Imam Shafi'i, he was saying, keep yourself busy with the truth, and if you don't, the falsehood will take. Oh, I actually don't remember the quote, but it's this a very beautiful one that he said, and that's how we can become better, or insan al-kamil in a way.
Yeah, it's a common proverb. An idle brain is the devil's workshop.
Any other questions? Maybe we can have one more question before we conclude, and then we continue in part 2 next month. Okay, then thank you very much, everyone. And thank you very much, Nur. You gave us a lot of food for thought for a month. So you have to prepare more questions for you next time. It's going to be a 3-hour lecture next time, not 2.
Sorry, it took longer.
No, that's fantastic. It was enjoyable. If anybody
Maybe a 3-day one, Frank.
Yeah.
Okay, many thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Nur.
Thank you very much, Nur. Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you, Nur.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nur.
Thank you.